I have a problem. I spent the last 2 weeks falling down a rabbit hole of dark, horrifying, visually stunning games that are all coming out this year, and now I can't stop thinking about them. So rather than suffer alone, I've put together the 10 that actually stopped me mid-scroll. These aren't the games everyone's already covering. These are the ones buried in Steam wishlists and indie showcases that most people discover 6 months too late. Not you though, because you're here, and by the end of this, your wishlist is going to be in ruins. Sorry about that. We're starting strong. Cthulhu, the cosmic abyss from Big Bad Wolf, the studio behind the council, published by Nikon. You play as Noah, an occult investigator sent to find out why an entire crew of deep-sea miners had vanished, somewhere in the Pacific Ocean. And I know what you're thinking, another Lovecraft game. But this one actually looks like it understands the assignment. It's first person, investigative, and the atmosphere is suffocating. You're on this dilapidated mining vessel. Things are wrong in ways you can't quite articulate yet. And deeper you investigate, the more your sanity starts to wobble. The demo just went live on Steam and visually it's punching way above its weight. Releases April the 16th, 2026 on PC, PS5 and Xbox. If you've ever wanted a Lovecraft game that actually feels like reading Lovecraft, slow dread, creeping madness, something enormous just out of sight, this might finally be it. Staying underwater because apparently 2026 is the year game developers collectively decided the ocean is terrifying. This one's CRATHOS Deep. You're piloting a submarine in the Arctic depths and stumbling into what essentially is a Lovecraftian sci-fi nightmare. Abandoned research facilities, alien architecture that shouldn't exist, and something very much alive down there that doesn't appreciate visitors. The devs have cited Soma, Subnautica, and Outer Wilds as inspirations, which is frankly an outrageous list of names to name drop, but based on the trailer, they might actually have pulled it off. It's a narrative-driven cosmic horror adventure and the lighting and atmosphere in the footage so far is actually stunning for an indie title. It's coming 2026 on PC, PS5 and Xbox. Between this and Cthulhu, the deep sea is having a moment. This next one came out of nowhere and absolutely blindsided me. Resonant Q, a cosmic horror survival action game for 1 to 3 players. Set on a decaying orbital ring called Ring World. You ascend to this massive structure in space, hunt anomalies, and try not to lose your mind. It's third person, built in Unreal Engine 5, and the visuals are actually ridiculous for a game most people haven't heard of. The creature design is grotesque, the environments have this industrial meets alien quality. And the co-op element, it means you get to watch your mates panic in real time. The studio has vets from some serious projects and the gameplay they've shown so far is tight. It's coming 2026 on PC, with consoles likely to follow. This is the kind of game that drops, gets discovered by one streamer, and then suddenly everyone's playing it. So get ahead of it now. The Sinking City 2 from Frogwares. The first game was rough around the edges, let's be honest, but this sequel looks like they've taken every bit of criticism and actually listened. It's set in a flooded, monster-infested version of Arkham in the 1920s, and they've completely rebuilt it as a proper survival horror game. Third person, resource management, actually threatening creatures. And that Lovecraftian investigation loop that the first game did well but buried under jank. The Kickstarter went well, the studio's been open about the development, partly because they're working for a literal war in Ukraine, which puts most studios' crunch complaints into perspective, and the footage looks dynamically better than the original. It's coming first half of 2026 on PC, PS5 and Xbox. If the first Sinking City was a rough draft, this one looks like the finished article. Directive 8020, the latest Dark Pictures game from Supermassive, and this time, they've gone to space. You're on a colony ship, headed to Tai City when something punches a hole in the hull and invites itself on board. Classic. It's running on Unreal Engine 5 now, which has massive visual upgrades from the previous Dark Pictures games, and they've added a new turning point system that lets you rewind and revisit key decisions, which is either brilliant or completely breaks the tension. We'll see. 13 minutes of prologue gameplay are already out there, and honestly, it looks like Supermassive's most ambitious project since Until Dawn. It's coming May the 12th, 2026 on PC, PS5 and Xbox. If you've got mates who enjoy shouting at screens while making terrible decisions, this one is your game. I need to talk about Ill. This game's been floating around the internet for a while now, and every time new footage drops, people collectively lose their composure. Team Clout, a studio with people who's worked on Longlegs and It, are building a first-person survival horror game in Unreal Engine 5 that looks so photorealistic, it's borderline offensive. The creature design is visceral, the animations are disturbingly detailed, and the weapons have these elaborate physical interactions that make combat feel properly weighty. The world is bleak, grimy, and lived in. It's the kind of game where you pause to look at a wall texture and think, is this an indie game? It's coming late 2026 or early 2027 on PC, PS5 and Xbox. There's no firm date yet, but honestly, take as long as you need, Team Clout. Whatever this becomes, it's going to turn heads. From the people who made Soma, which, if you played it, you already know it's one of the most psychologically devastating games ever made, comes Ontis from Fictional Games, published by Kepler Interactive. It's a sci-fi mystery set in Samsara, a repurposed hotel on the moon where cryptic experiments have been taking place. You're there to piece together what happened, and based on everything Fictional have said, the focus is less on running from monsters and more on slowly unravelling something deeply unsettling. They specifically said you won't be chased constantly. It's about atmosphere, moral complexity, and that creeping realisation that whatever happened here is worse than you thought. It's coming in 2026 on PC, PS5 and Xbox. Fictional don't miss, they just don't, so this one's going to be special. Look, there's not a lot of footage yet, so I'll keep this honest. Alien Isolation 2 is in development at Creative Assembly, confirmed on the 10th anniversary of the original. Al Hope, the creative director of the first game, he's leading it. That's basically all we know. But here's why it's on the list. The original Alien Isolation is, and I will die on the hill, one of the greatest horror games ever made. The AI on that xenomorph was actually terrifying. If they can take that foundation, rebuild it with modern tech, and resist the urge to turn it into an action game, which is what killed the Alien franchise the first 3 times, this could be the horror game of the decade. Expected 2027 at the earliest. Coming out on PC, PS5 and Xbox. There's not much to show yet, but the potential here is absolutely enormous. I refuse not to be excited about it. So at the Game Awards 2025, M. Night showed a trailer for what looked like a gorgeous sci-fi horror game set on an alien planet. Mysterious structures, eerie landscapes, first-person exploration. People were losing it. And then it turned out to be The Forest 3, the sequel to The Sons of the Forest, set in space, on an alien world, which is actually one of the most unexpected pivots in gaming. The trailer starts in the spaceship cockpit before everything goes horribly wrong and you're stranded on this alien planet with things that are very much not trees. The visuals are stunning, the tone is completely different from the previous games, and M. Night clearly aren't interested in making the same thing again. There's no release date yet, it could be late 2026, could be 2027, PC's been confirmed, consoles likely. This is either going to be brilliant or the most ambitious fumble of the year. Either way, I'm waiting for it. And saving one of the best for last, Pragmata from Capcom. This game has been in development for what feels like a geological age. First announced in 2020, delayed repeatedly, and most people assumed it was quietly dead. It is very much not dead. It's a sci-fi action adventure set on the moon. You play as an astronaut, Hugh Williams alongside an android companion called Diana, and the gameplay revolves around hacking, exploration, and puzzle solving in this deeply strange lunar environment. The demo that dropped early this year actually impressed people. The visuals are outstanding, the atmosphere is eerie and alien without being generic, and Capcom seems to be doing something properly weird with it. Hands-on previews are calling it a potential sleeper hit, coming April the 17th, 2026 on PC, PS5, Xbox and Switch too. After Resident Evil Requiem, Capcom can do no wrong right now. If Pragmata delivers even half of what it's promising, we're in for something special. And that's the list. 10 dark games that most people aren't talking about enough. Every single one of them is looking better than half the AAA releases we've seen this year. If any of these are on your radar, or if I missed one that deserved a spot, drop it in the comments. I actually want to know. If this was useful, a like would be lovely. Subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.